in a world.
Shut the hell up!
Where Carolina Panthers fans,
Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding,
have an insatiable thirst.
I need to see a lot more of that shit going forward.
For Panthers news and opinions.
All my C3 brethren from the C3 Legion.
Only one podcast roars ferociously.
The longest running Panthers podcast on the internet.
It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Oh, Greg, I owe y'all $100, man.
What's up, Panther fans? Tonight is all about the blueprint, and we've got the details. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, and if you want to win some unique, historic Panther memorabilia, stick around because we're going to be announcing a series of giveaways coming out every month that we got you, and I've got stuff from Bank of America, official pieces of history that could be yours. It's the C3 Panthers podcast, where every Tuesday night we wrap up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. My name's Tony Dunn. Over to the left, I think he's on the left on your screen, my wheelman, Cody Lack. Welcome back.
Tony Dunn, Codizzle Allen, the C3 Legion. What's up, boys, man? I'm so happy to be back with y'all on a Tuesday night. There is truly nowhere I would rather be on a Tuesday than sitting here talking Panthers football with my boys. And Tony, CK, we are fresh off the heels of what I believe is the best piece of produced content that the Carolina Panthers have ever put out in the form of this blueprint. It was very revealing in terms of the trade that almost happened to move back to number 26 with the Rams. They seemed very relieved when that trade did not go through. Very revealing as to how we feel about all these players and how the Panthers feel like they were much lower drafted than their value, that they were actually players who should have been drafted way sooner. Yeah. The organization loves them. I'm loving them. I'm loving learning more about them. OTAs are going on. But Tony Dunn, CK, you know we would never do this without the best damn Panthers fans in all of YouTube. You know them, you love them. It's D's, Ill, Skills, the brand ambassador, Jake, the Snake FU, C-Dog, 1983 TV in the building, Kyle, Charlotte Sports 1, Chuck Price, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, G Baby in the house, Justin K, Sean Butler, and the Cardiac Cat 13. Tony Dunn, and nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. We'd love for you to be a part of the show. Call in. Let us know what stood out to you in the blueprint. Do you see any details that we've missed or that we haven't talked about as we go through the show? Call in. We're taking calls all the way to the end of the show. And who would be better to respond to your call than the man with the golden pipes? How's it going, CK?
Man, I tell you again, we have another week of actually things to talk about, and the Panthers seem to find a way to do it every week, right? We get into these like days of the year where it's like there's nothing to talk about, and they drop blueprint, and then we have some things to talk about. Then we have OTAs, we have some stuff to talk about, and more importantly, we have my boy Cody here, able to join us for this Tuesday evening.
Yes, sir.
And man, that makes you, puts a smile on your face given they had so much going on this past week. So, I'm just happy to be here with all of us here, happy and at least semi-healthy at the very least. So,
yeah, and I said this on Friday as well, but to everybody who sent their thoughts and their prayers to me and my mother after the trying time that we've been through, man, I cannot tell y'all how much I love the C3 Legion and being a part of this incredible community. It was definitely appreciated. We tell y'all that, and love y'all, boys. Happy to be back with you, man.
Guys, the blueprint is out and it dropped. And like you said, man, they're getting better and better at producing this stuff each and every year. I wonder, Cody, though, when you say this is potentially the best piece that the Panthers have ever put out.
Sure.
And like internally, which, I mean, I think there are some other cool things they've did in the past when it comes to their own version of Hard Knocks and things like that. I think, is it because you love the people in it so much? Is that really what it is? Is that you're looking at Dan Morgan, Brant Tillis, Canales, and then even David Tepper just over there, and it looked like what we all wanted it to look like. Dan Morgan being Dan the man, Brant Tillis having his as his right-hand man, and then them just consulting a little with David Tepper in a sense and making him feel a little included in the process. But he really, at least unless they did this intentionally to cast it in this light, looked far less involved or micromanaging than he has in some of the past things we've seen when it comes to the Panthers draft.
Yeah. To me, it feels very much so like out of everyone that has been hired to this organization, that David Tepper does really have a level of trust in Dan Morgan and Brant Tillis specifically to really run this ship and be on the same page with Dave Canales and the rest of the coaching staff as far as what type of team we want to be. And I think something that was also very revealing is just, and we sort of knew this, but just how much Brant Tillis is involved in just about everything that's done in the day-to-day operations of the Carolina Panthers. He's clearly very valued, but he's very front and center in the Panthers blueprint. And it seems as though our organization is much better off having him navigate the trades, navigate some of the contracts. And, you know, there's a reason why he was such a highly coveted member of that Kansas City Chiefs organization that ultimately paid Patrick Mahomes and a bunch of other key players for them. So, man, I'm more and more proud of this front office the more I see from them, and especially after this blueprint and understanding their thought process and really what happened during the course of the draft. I just don't know how you could not have faith in what these men are building and how they're building it.
CK, let's talk about the beginning of the blueprint, right? And it starts out with the Tet McMillan pick, right? And how important that was in their draft. And we got to see in the beginning, they start out by talking about him as a person. We've continued to hear Dan Morgan talk about how he wants people that love football and have a passion for it. They talked about that. They really seem to highlight that. The kid seems like not only just a cool, nice kid, but just so genuine. And I loved how he went around giving everybody putting the lays on everybody, celebrating his Hawaiian culture. He was thoughtful coming in there. He's like, I'm doing this. He did it to the commissioner. He did it for the owner, the coach, Dan Morgan, every single person. Him and his mother were there. And he met with Bryce Young. Your thoughts about how they portrayed the selection of Tet McMillan and what just stood out to you in the beginning of that video?
You know, I think that one of the things I want to talk about the Brant Tillis thing. I kind of got this feeling that he didn't want Tet. You know what I mean? Not like he had a version, but he really wanted to trade back. He did not want to stay put there. And I love the fact that it feels that way because it kind of gives you this sense of like that Dan talked about it. He doesn't want yes men in the building with him, right? He wants people to be able to challenge him because you're not going to get better until you do. Have people that are willing to be honest with you. And so I think that's interesting to see Brant Tillis kind of come from it, that perspective. The only thing I'm worried about is the haul of picks that we decided to pass on. Are we about to have another situation from the Rams where the Rams offer us a buttload of things for a player and then we turn it down, and then in the next 2 years we're like, we should have went with those picks? I almost feel like we're better off as an organization not releasing information like that, if I'm being honest with you. So
I guess they did they highlight what the offer? I mean, I remember them saying so quickly as like,
right.
It didn't seem like they listed the full deal.
No, they said that it was the moon, right? That it was a giant offer in order to justify moving from 8 to 26. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if we ever got the full details of what that trade was, But to your point, CK, it did look like out of everyone in the room, Brant Tillis, and he even said as much. He said he was looking for action. He wanted to trade up, down. He wanted to participate in all the fun draft day activities that you get to do. But I did notice it seemed like everyone was almost really happy that the trade didn't go through and that the Rams were not willing to accept all of that Carolina was asking for.
Right.
So seeing that and how, they were almost relieved, like a weight was on their shoulder, like, whew, they didn't take it, grab our guy. That's how it felt from watching it.
Yeah, and to CK's point about like how you're going to feel in the aftermath, right? I mean, that could all be dictated by injury, by performance, all these different things, and the what if. But I did like, as Cody, I mean, they said, look, as we're not trading this pick back to 26 without it being significantly worth it. And they really coveted the value of that top 10 pick. And in some ways I am excited, or I was like, this is cool that they're not going to, just because there's so many needs on this team, take where the buyer has the power, right? Like they saw themselves in a seller's market, not a buyer's market in that case. And they didn't settle for less because Dan was willing to make the trade. He was ready to do it if they took his terms, not what they gave, what they offered. And the Rams declined that. It was too much for them. And then, boy, there was no hesitation in who they were going after.
None. They knew it. They wanted Ted McMillan. They knew that was their guy. And it seemed as though for a long time, they felt like that's the direction that they were going to move in. And listen, the more and more that I learn about him, the more that I understand him and his family and where he's from. Shout out to Donnie94 in the chat. Says that's the Hawaiian spirit. That's what being Hawaiian is. The type of people that we are. It just seems like he's the type of person that the moment that they got to meet with him and understand who he is, and when he says that his job is to make the quarterback right, like that's everything that you want to hear. He's humble, he's a very spiritual guy like Bryce is. Listen, I really see the potential of Bryce Young and T-Mac being an incredible, not only duo, but a friendship on the team that I think can build a really good connection that we haven't had in a long time.
You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, stick around, guys. We got some big info coming on some historic Panther memorabilia. I might even give you a peek of some of the things we've got coming. In fact, I'll do it right now. I'm going to tell you how to this giveaway is going to start tomorrow. We're going to be doing a giveaway once a month at the minimum. The third Tuesday of every month, we will be giving away a Panthers gift bag. And in the first few, maybe in all of them, there will be a piece of historic memorabilia from Bank of America Stadium right here in this first giveaway, a piece of metal art from the stadium. Oh, look, it's got a big gleam on it.
Hold on. I'll put you up.
Right here. I'm going to clean it up some more. This was taken from Bank of America Stadium when they did the stadium renovations. These past renovations were the big ones, right? And this is a metal logo, official metal logo from Bank of America Stadium, historic piece of memorabilia that you can win. Well, stick around. What we're going to be doing is a campaign that will launch tomorrow where you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow on on Twitter, X, repost, that type of giveaway. I'll be posting it. It's going to run starting tomorrow. As long as I can get the Glean campaign up, I bought this software just to run these campaigns today. I was just messing with it, trying. That's why I was late, guys. I was trying to get it done before the show. Did not get it all hashed out. But we'll launch it tomorrow. You will enter. You'll get, all you have to do to enter is subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's going to be the one. Follow on X and repost, and you will get entries into the giveaway. And the third Tuesday of every month, we're going to be giving away a Panthers fan gift bag. So you'll have almost 3 weeks. We'll close the campaign at 8 o'clock on Tuesday, the third Tuesday of the month. And look, I've got other things like this that are going to be coming in future gift bags. CK, these are like the things that are on the wall.
Yeah,
or on the back of the seats, or
yeah. I mean, it's
Dude, those are sick.
it's an interesting piece of the Panthers history, and I think that the fact that you got it is when you first sent it to the chat, I was like, "There's no way the Panthers just decided to send that to us." Like that was pretty sick. I thought for sure, like maybe we're not so on the outs with them, but yeah. And then you told me, yeah,
from a salvage yard,
which is wild to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. Is the way I ran across these was there is a woman that lives here in Greenville that I bought them from. Her father owns a salvage yard in Kansas City.
Oh shit!
And they are the ones that handled the scrap from the Bank of America renovation project.
Whoa, small world, huh?
And when she moved to Greenville, her dad, who owns the scrapyard, said, "I got some stuff to send you that's related to North Carolina." And so I've got, I think, almost 30 of these pieces. I have to go through. I just got them. The box weighed a ton. I mean, they're full. They're real metal. Right now, I mean, they're not in perfect. I mean, they are historic. I mean, they have been pulled from the stadium. So, I mean, I'm going to clean them up and some different things. But we're going to have some other swag in there, too, for you guys. But our goal is to not only reward you guys for your time and your energy, but to continue to help grow our subscriptions on YouTube and Spotify specifically. So make sure that you go ahead and subscribe. And then when you see these posts on YouTube, Facebook, and X, that you get involved so you can be a winner of this Panthers swag. Cody, what's next when it comes to the blueprint that stuck out? I mean, obviously, the trade talk. I mean, really, the trade talk is the talk. Like, to me, was such a exciting in a way, right? Like it was there. How many times and so many things is that fans talk about are really happening in the background. They were dealing with the potential option, right, of trading this top 10 pick, the number 8 overall pick. And they're dealing this while they're on the clock. Brant Tillis said, "Let's wait and see if the Rams call us." And what do you know? The phone rings. Did they do the right thing, Cody? What are your thoughts on the trade? And we'll finish up with that and move on to the next part of the blueprint.
Sure. Listen, my thoughts are different now than they would have been on draft night or a day before the draft. I would have jumped all over a trade for that, and seemingly it would have been a huge amount that we would have received from the Rams. But like I mentioned earlier, man, the more you learn about T-Mac, his upbringing, and then you hear him in interviews and you see him, in Hawaii at the luau with his family. Like, the dude just seems like a Carolina Panther to me already. Like, he has that type of bravado and personality that I feel like Panther fans are going to fall in love with. And remember, like I said before, I believe that the type of wide receiver that Nalo is, he is going to feast on those play action passes. He'll be able to get open based off of his jump ball ability alone. And I think that he continues to work on his route running. The dude's a problem. He's a big, strong, physical wide receiver, as is almost everyone on the Panthers receiving core at this moment. So right now, sitting here before you, brother, I am happy that Teteroa McMillan is a Carolina Panther, and I'm happy that the front office was able to hone in on the guy they wanted and then ultimately land him here in Carolina.
It truly seemed like he was their guy going into the draft, right, of what they were looking at and how the draft's going to fall. It did not seem, unless they edited the conversations in a bit because you want to make the draft picks that you pick feel like they were your guy. I mean, that's probably a good idea. But it was, maybe the defensive tackle that went to the Browns.
Yeah, well, he said that as soon as Mason Graham, as the Jaguars traded up for Travis Hunter, and then later Graham went to the Browns, that's when they knew, okay, we're sitting in a good position.
Right.
Like, they were happy about that.
Okay.
And shout out to Dan Morgan, too. There were multiple times throughout the blueprint where he seemingly called his shot. So, for example, he said Princely Human Milan would be available in the 3rd round. and I'll be damned if he wasn't available in the third round. That was another one of my takeaways, Tone, is that they really had a premium evaluation on both Nick Scorton and Princely Human Meal.
Yes. I
Like
think
those
there were
their
three that
guys.
were on their mind, right? There were three.
Yeah, there were three.
edge
And then
rushers that
Donovan, I believe
Boston
Donovan
College
has
guy.
Donovan Ezra went to the Cowboys. And then you had those two. And the fact that they landed both of them, he said in the blueprint that they never even imagined a scenario that they would have T-Mac, Scorton, and Human Millen on the team at the same time. So they feel like they nailed this better than they ever could have anticipated.
Yeah. One of the things that maybe I give myself a little credit sometimes, right, when it comes to this, is a little pat on the back for Tony Dunn here. Is we talked about when the initial reaction to Tet being picked at 8, right? We were doing the C3 live draft party, right? And there were people up there, people on the panel, right? We had a big show. We had a big Friday, basically free for all. And people didn't see it coming in a way. Were upset that they didn't go after a defensive player, right? But then we tried to work through the ideas in that live draft show right there. We talked about, like, why would you do this, right? Like, why would a team that has so many defensive needs do this? And to me, it really confirmed in this video is that there were a lot of good defensive players in this draft, but the premium defensive players were, because it was the depth, there was nobody that just completely stood out to them as a guy that was a lock at that position. And they thought that Brant Tillis talked about the value at edge, and they were from the beginning looking at edge rushers like Nick Scorton, like Princely, right? And these things, and those guys to them were just as good as potentially the guy that the Falcons took, right, from Georgia. And really, they talked about that value there. And once they got Tet, then they focused in and they said, we're going after these edge rushers, right? And they were trading up. They were not going to let both, the Boston College guy, once he went, they were concerned about a run on edge rushers, and they went after Nick Scorton. The thing that stood out to me, though, or another thing that stood out to me, was how differently the Panthers evaluate. And you know what? Let me be cautious on this, because there's so many evaluations on players when it comes to the internet, when it comes to podcasts, when it comes to, drafts gurus on Twitter or X, right? Like all these experts. But some of the things, remember, we think about some people bringing up a concern when it comes to Tet, is that, like, that one quote where he says, "I don't watch film," right? And then when you see the Panthers talking about the guy, they talked about his passion, his competitive nature, and all of this, like this. Then the other thing is that when they described Tet McMillan, right, they talked about the way they were describing him was an can do anything guy, right? So where you have people on the internet saying, well, he's not fast enough, or, this or that. And then they go to Scorton, and boy, you want to talk about a rave review. And some of the things that, people concerns had, they had the complete opposite evaluation of many of these players. Your thoughts on how they reflected or talked about Nick Scorton or any of these players?
I think that it was a pretty clear cut example of these guys going beyond just the tape. Dan Morgan talked about, if you miss on somebody, it's because you didn't get to know them a little bit more deeply. And so he's doing his due diligence to get to know these guys in more than just a football way, and more than just what their tape shows. And I think that that's encouraging. Now, here's the thing. How much of this has always been done, right? We don't know. We only look at this and we're excited because it's something we've never seen before. But I also think that part of this is something that every team goes through. So I'm excited by the picks that we've made, because it does feel like we got a tremendous amount of value, and not having to give up a tremendous amount to get these guys and moving up to get them. To have them have conviction on these guys is also something that's incredibly important in my mind, because if we were watching this and it felt like they were taking in the third round a guy that just like, okay, well, he fell to us. We'll go ahead and take him. No, these guys wanted these boys. Like they wanted them in round 1. They wanted them in round 2, Princely, right? And they were not convinced these guys were going to be there because they had a belief that they were going to be gone because they thought people would value them the same way. So I think that it's I'm excited for the front office, and I think it's going to give us a pretty good insight into whether Dan Morgan actually has the chops to be a GM. By all accounts, I think we all think that is the case, but this is like going to be the first peek at us really being able to judge him based on his actions during the draft.
What was your favorite part of this episode of the Blueprint?
The favorite part.
Cody, you got a favorite part?
My favorite part, I
or
mean,
aspect or anything. I mean, like it's not like it doesn't have to be a moment. What is it? It's like I have one that I come away with and I say, this is what I love the most about this.
Yeah. So do you have one?
Yeah, mine. Think about it. Mine is how completely clear it was that Dan Morgan, the chain of command and the ownership of this team that Dan Morgan had, the confidence he had in Brant Tillis. This was the Dan Morgan Brant Tillis show. And when I say my favorite moment about it, I guess in one way is that Dave Canales was a minor part of this. He's the coach. Yeah. We're going to give you the player. Now, I'm not saying he didn't have any input at all, but I feel
he wasn't like very vocal.
If we went back to a Matt Rule, if this was the Matt Fool blueprint, he's the guy, the coach is dictating to the GM what he wants so much. And I really love this traditional, what I would call a traditional structure, a traditional chain of command, is that the GM puts together the team. He's the guy whose job depends on that, right? On giving, like, at the end of the day, the bottom line, how his job is judged is how he manages the roster, right? And like gives the tools to the coach. The coach can have input on things, right? You want to take into consideration. It's like being a parent. You want to consider your kids' desires in life, but you don't want them to dictate the choices and where you're going to live or what house you're going to buy, like entirely. Yeah. So I felt like the account, like this is Dan Morgan's team. Brant Tillis and him have complete, like they're in sync, right? They are lockstep together, but still this is Dan Morgan's decision. Brant Tillis is his consigliere, if you want to go mob talk. And I liked how Canales is like, hey, like this is what I can do with this guy or something to that effect, right? But he wasn't in there leading, being the puppet master,
right?
Very different from Matt Rule. You're definitely right about that. Matt Rule was the star of the show. Yeah. Whenever we're looking at past blueprints, I really like what Kyle says here too. He says my favorite part was in the 4th. They knew they had picks beginning of day 3, and they were still looking for potential starters, not developmental players. And that kind of sort of rolls into mind. It's how highly they coveted almost every single player that they drafted. So if you remember at the time, a lot of people and a lot of fans still will tell you that their least favorite pick was Trevor Etienne, especially because at that time there was still some more safeties on the board. But you also heard Dan Morgan say, well, there's 2 safeties that we know that we really like, and we're expecting that one of them is going to be there when we pick again. So it was just how masterfully they were able to maneuver around the board, grab the player that they had the highest on their board. They said that they didn't have any other player that they wanted above a Trevor Etienne, and they grabbed the guy that they felt gave them the most value at that point in time. And it seems like they did that with every single pick that was on the board. So just how masterfully Dan Morgan and Brant Tillis moved around the board, they called their shots, and they were right on most of them. And I feel like that's a lot of due diligence that people don't see, all the time and the effort that all those men put in with the area scouts and, people that have been and seen these players in person for a long time, not just during the draft process, but, going to college games during the season and watching these guys and scouting them for a long time. This is a group effort, and it felt like it all culminated in a flawless performance by the Panthers front office, grabbing starters, like my man Kyle says in the chat.
CK, your thoughts on, again, answer that if you have a favorite part or something that stuck out to you. And
it's
got some other things to do too.
I think that my favorite part is just, it's got to be, Brant Tillis just kind of talk like it just, you kind of get this feeling that he's just like this, he's really wanting to win. You know what I mean? Like he's really wanting to win. And what I mean by that is like he wants to do the trades because he wants to be able to actually come out on top. I think that's what motivates him in those situations is he wants movement because he wants to be able to come away feeling like he got one over on another team. At least that's what I kind of got the feeling from him when he was so excited about that idea,
Yeah.
You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaChronicles.com. Every Tuesday night, we're chopping up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. I'd like to thank Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring tonight's show. Underdog is the place to go if you want to play daily fantasy sports. And right now, the MLB, Major League Baseball, is the hot ticket. Go yard all baseball season long on Underdog's Pick'em game. Underdog is a leading place for you to make your sports pick, and you can now play in your state, especially if you're in North Carolina. Millions of fans have already won billions of dollars picking on Underdog. All you have to do is download the app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. You can choose from things like home runs, strikeouts, total bases, and so much more. In fact, you could help me make a pick right now. We've got till 10:05 to pick on Pablo Lopez, 6.5 strikeouts or more higher or lower. We could go Lawrence Butler for Anaheim versus Minnesota. You can we could even do a live game one right now. Mike Trout, if he hits a home run, it's the top of the 8th. You could win up to 17 times your money on Underdog. Once your picks feel good, you can play for as little as $1. If you get everything right, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. That's right. The more picks you make, the more you get right, the more money you get paid. We're going to come back with another Underdog read about NBA in a little while. But don't forget this, is that you guys have helped me win money on Underdog in the past, right? By helping me with these picks. You guys got to help me. Maybe you can put an Underdog pick in the chat to help us figure out how I can make some money tonight. Download the Underdog app and sign up with the promo code C3P to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code C3P. You must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Guys, get in the NBA right now. Let's make an NBA pick tonight. I need your help on the NBA. We'll do a read later in the show there. Cody, let's go back to the blueprint and let's talk about that Etienne pick.
Sure.
That was an interesting component of the blueprint of how much they valued him as a player and how in need they were of safeties at the moment, and they still decided to go with him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They felt that he was the highest player on the board, the tried and true term, best player available. They felt like Etienne was him. And you got to hear him in the interviews talking about how much football has given to him and his brother and his family in general. And I think that they also like that versatility. The fact that you're going to be able to put him in the backfield. He's going to be able to run between the A and B gaps. He's going to be able to catch the ball outside of the backfield. But he's also going to be on kick return for us. So the fact that he's able to be a jack of all trades, and he has a ton of potential that a lot of people feel he hasn't even fulfilled yet. To me, this is a great pick. And it also says that they trust in their offensive staff and their offensive scheme enough to see how he fits in here and to project him into the future and what he might be one day. So also you add in the injury of Jonathan Brooks. We're not going to have him all year. To me, this was a value pick through and through. I love it. I couldn't be happier with it.
CK, I didn't feel like they told us why they loved him so much as a player, though.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there was a little bit that they touched on, but I don't disagree. It wasn't like they went into a tremendous amount of depth about it. I think that what did they did when they brought him up? They said something about him, didn't they?
I mean, Canales said he's a good returner and he can be a good back, right? Like it was not like he's a bell cow. It didn't say it was his speed, his, when they're talking about bend and wiggle and things on the defensive ends, they didn't really highlight any attributes or characteristics of him that made him what in that quote unquote BPA was. They did emphasize that he thought this was our time where we go BPA when we have needs, right, at safety. We have guys that we like at safety, and they've really just they didn't just say why they loved him so much. I mean, like specifically, but one thing they did pan to, and they used that as a kind of a dovetail to do, was to come back to what Dan Morgan talks about as the love of the game, right? And they talk about, and they showed a couple of snippets from interviews, and he talked about how much football had done for his family, right? And overall, and so yeah. I think that is kind of what they tried to be wrap that present in, but they didn't just specifically say it's like this guy can be an elite player and I can't believe he's still here.
Yeah.
They just said they liked him. Right. And I think Dan used the term conviction pick several times. Right. Conviction pick. Scorton was a conviction pick. And then the guy from, I think not Rambo. I missed that guy. Who was the guy that we got from Ohio State? The safety.
Ransom. Lathan Ransom.
Ransom. And then that end receiver, the late round receiver that everybody loves.
Jimmy Horn.
Yeah, I think it was Jimmy Horn Jr. that Dan Morgan set a conviction pick, right? So, I don't know. You guys continue. You guys help me, Mosey.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I kind of think that, I alluded to this earlier too, in how they felt that there were two safeties that were there that would be available for them. And they're essentially gambling during the draft because you don't know if any of these players are going to be there, who's going to trade up, who values what where. I mean, you're essentially gambling the entire way through the draft. And the fact that, they had two safeties that they said, you know what, the presence of those two guys yet to be drafted says that we can draft this running back right here, right now, and go best player available and not have to reach to grab one. And, really fulfilling that big board. I think that in an NFL front office, your big board is like your holy Bible, for lack of a better term, of the draft. It is your holy text that you adhere to. You make your board that you have all made up your mind about, and then you adhere to it, and you sort of let the draft fall to you. And there was a good mixture of knowing when to let the draft fall to you and stay right there, or knowing when to move up and grab the player that you have to have right now. And CK, I feel that was one of the things that they really did do the best this entire draft.
Yeah, I mean, just based on what you saw from the video, I mean, they were, they had conviction on those pass rushers in the second and the third. I think that I do get a bit, obviously you're going to entertain the idea of trading back from 8, but the fact that it was all the way to the wire, and it makes me, I wonder where their conviction, because here's the thing, if they were thinking Tet was the man, like he is guaranteed to be a bona fide guy, we believe in him wholeheartedly, you're not going to even question the idea of moving backwards. You're going to take him, right? If you believe that guy is going to be a franchise-changing wide receiver, you're not going to pass on a dude like that, especially when you look at the landscape of the league and the best teams in the NFL that consistently perform at a high level, right? They all have that true number one wide receiver. And so that part didn't make me feel super warm and fuzzy. However, seeing their conviction with our pass rushers, and I'm just saying pass rushers to save ourselves some time. I think that makes me feel a lot better about the way this draft fell. And the fact that these guys, because we all wanted defensive players at that number 8 spot. And the fact that we got 2 players that some people would consider, we got somebody in the 3rd that should have been in the 2nd round. We got somebody in the 2nd that should have been in the 1st round. And many people would say, I think that's something that I'm excited about. So it's just that first part of that entire thing does cause me a bit of like keep my eyes open. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fantastic. Cody, I think it's time to get the fans' perspective on the blueprint and jump into some catcalls right here. Guys, we want to hear your thoughts on the blueprint. Did they draw it up right? Did they execute? How are they building based on the blueprint? I don't know how many references I can make to the term blueprint, an architect or whatever it may be. But Cody Lack, it's time to get some fans in on this and get into some catcalls.
Let's do it. The number is 252-228-5098. Let's roll.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
What's up, C3? It's Lucas from Far City. I want to
What's
talk
up,
about
Luke?
that Panthers Blueprint and a certain someone in the Panthers organization. I love the Panther Blueprints. They always get me excited for the season. And I'm really looking forward to T-Mac, man. He seems like a great teammate and a kind of guy that I want to go to play ball with. Now, I really want to say something nice about our owner, Mr. David Tepper.
Okay.
A lot of Panther fans don't like David, mostly because we haven't had a winning season since he bought the team, and that's very understandable. But I want to say something very positive about him. The man obviously loves this team, and he is very passionate about his team. There are some owners in the NFL that don't care and aren't around for anything, like Cleveland's and Denver's owner. But David and Nicole are around for every game, every draft, every special event, you name it, they're there. David and Nicole still have a long way to go before they win this fan base over, but I wanted to give them a big pat on the back because I've been noticing it, and I just wanted to give them a big shout out. Keep pounding, go Panthers.
Keep pounding. Tony, this really does reign true. You know, if the Panthers are able to turn this thing around, you know, David Tepper is a lot of different things. But what he also is a billionaire, a legit billionaire. And he is someone who has had to learn how to bounce back from, you know, in a number of different things in the financial industry. You know,
Yeah, that's how he got his start, was a bounce back.
100%. So I really do feel like, do look at going up to get Bryce Young. A lot of people felt like that was a David Tepper move. So if Bryce has a career year this year, and if Tet looks like a number one wide receiver, and Dan Morgan and Brant Tillis continue to dominate the draft, all of a sudden, all that anger and animosity that was built up amongst Panther fandom, that's going to be out the window, Tony. And one of the things that no one can dispute, David Tepper is willing to do whatever he has to do to bring a winner to the Carolinas. This entire organization is now an extension of himself and his own ego and who he believes himself to be as a businessman and as an owner. He will do everything in his power to have this team be successful. There is no rock he will not look under. There is no check that he will not sign. He is about winning football games, and everything that he has done thus far points that he is serious in doing so. Shout out to Luke.
Yeah, and shout out to Charlotte Sports One, a C3 Superfan. For $1.99 a month, you can help the C3 Panthers podcast continue, the longest running Panthers podcast, and continue to grow. And as we continue to expand the show, it's going to be a crazy big year for the C3 Panthers podcast. We've got so many things in store for you, starting with this giveaway once a month at the minimum, a third Tuesday of every month. We're going to be giving away Panther swag. In this case, we're going to be giving away historic Panther memorabilia, right? Like this metal logo from Bank of America Stadium. Stick around for more details. He said that Blueprint also showed a bunch of people we know on YouTube and Twitter talking about the Panthers and the draft speculation, meaning they watch Even for Nothing, Keep Pounding. We're going to have some things. I'm going to mention a little bit of this back later on in the show. I guess I should have talked about cooking more. And I love to cook. So we just maybe not. I don't know. We'll talk about that a little bit more. I got some ice up for you guys going about rich people being cheap. And by the way, David Tepper is still, this is how rich people stay rich. They cheap as fuck. That mug, the first thing he said to Bryce, his joke was, "You're not getting a Christmas present this year because I already gave you one." Like, billionaire ass motherfucker skipping on the tip.
Did you hear what Princely told him?
Yeah, you're gonna have to break them off in 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah, he said, I'm gonna take all your money here in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I love it. I love it though. By the way, shout out to C Dog. Keep pounding.
He's a brand ambassador, man. By the way.
Yes, sir. C Dog, you're the man, brother. All right, you want to take another one?
Yeah, let's keep going with the calls.
Hey, man, let's take a call from across the pond.
Hi there. Hi, Tony. Hi, Cody. Everybody in Panthers Nation. It's Rich. It's been a little while.
Rich, how are you, buddy?
Just wanted to say, watched the Blueprint today. Thought it was fantastic. Watched a lot of these over the years. The Panthers always do a fantastic job. It's great to see the insight. Tepper's still there, kind of holding the strings a little bit, I think, but it now seems like it's in a good way. Dan Morgan definitely seems to have the reins, though. He's trusted, he's confident, and it looks like the draft, they got what they wanted. I mean, I was a big fan of the draft. The first 3 picks I thought we did great. So I'll move on to that. Nolan McMillan, T-Mac. I liked what I saw on that film. I've watched him being interviewed now. I like that. I like him a lot. I wonder as well, just throw it around. I'm wondering more Michael Thomas than anyone else. I know he keeps getting comped to Tampa Bay, but yeah, I wonder whether more of Michael Thomas, that sort of maybe running shorter slant routes and never maybe busting anything huge out. I don't know. What do you think? Just something to throw around there. I haven't heard that comp at all, and I know he's not exactly the same. But that was my thought, that maybe a sort of slightly more a possession receiver. Big guy, get open, catch. Look, he catches really, really well. That hands away from the body, big body control that might not necessarily leave people once he's done it. But, that's 100 receptions a year for 1,100 yards. But, maybe it'll allow XL to get free on the big routes down the field. Maybe it'll allow, the other guys that we've got coming through. Anyway, Yeah, big fan of everything. Anyway, I hope you guys are all doing really well. I am. My life is great. I don't get to listen to you nearly as much now as I've got a proper job for the last 2 years. But I think about you guys all the time. So to
proper
everyone out
job.
there in Panther Nation, keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Shout out to Rich, man.
London.
Always love hearing from you. You know, Rich was going to come to Charlotte and hang out and visit literally right before COVID hit.
Right.
So yeah, shout out to Rich. You know, fans hate Michael Thomas, obviously because he was the Saint and what he did to us, and him being an asshole to Derek Brown. But as a player comp, I feel like T-Mac might be more versatile, but the hands and the body type and the physical structure, that's not a bad comparison at all.
Also want to thank all the international listeners. We broadcast all across the world. Thank God for the beautiful thing called the internet where we can reach all these people. So I know Rich spent a mint on making that international call. For you international listeners, one way you could always do is on Twitter, send us a voice message, right, to either myself or to Cody, or send a voice file to carolinacatchronicles@gmail.com, and that'll save you a buck. Because I got to tell you this, CK, is one thing with the giveaway is like, do you make it international? Because do you know what international shipping is? All of a sudden, that mug goes from a $10 package to a $50 package. But you know what? We'll figure that out. I think we got to include everybody. This is a place for all Panther fans. When it comes to the Blueprint, continued, we talk about those comparisons and different things, but I think this is one thing or a couple of things that continue to stand out to me as we see the fan reaction. And maybe, again, we have to remember that the Blueprint is it's a production.
Right.
It is not like just a raw feed of what they're doing. So they are going to portray things in the best possible light. But boy, I tell you, the Panther fans seem to have a lot of it's almost unanimous. I have not heard past that initial like, oh, we need so much defense, right? Think about this draft and then past drafts and how people react to different players and different things. Yeah, there was that momentary feeling that fans go, this defense is historically bad. How do you not pick a defensive player? But in the wake of all of this, it's like a unanimous. There's been very little dissension among Panther fans in the feeling about how they handled this draft and how Dan Morgan. I feel like, if anything, this has been one moment where Panther fans have collectively breathed together and have been upbeat and positive about everything. And that's bananas in a sense.
It's listen, how we got here. I mean, it just shows you how wild the last 5 games of the season really changed our opinion of the entirety of the Panthers. Like if we had ended the season with Andy Dalton being the quarterback, even if we had a better record with him having taken the helm for the remainder of the year, we would not be as optimistic as we are right now.
No, end of days.
Dude, I know it would be nothing that would make us feel good about the situation that we're in. No matter how this draft felt. Number one, we probably wouldn't have gone Tet there. We would have had to have gone another quarterback because there's
People
no
would
way
have been asking for Deion's kid.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Shadir Sanders would have been a Panther. I almost have no doubt in my mind that would have been the case, based on how that everything fell. So it is, man. It's
last year it was going to go down in the history book, CK, as one of the wildest seasons in the way, it emotionally. What an emotional roller coaster it was.
Dude, it was such a ridiculous situation. I don't even just even thinking about it now is just like it's
you were almost you were, you know what, you went to the doctor and I know this, look, I am king for making bad analogies, so please forgive me. This is a terrible analogy. I'm not really trying to make light of people going to the doctor and having cancer or something to that effect, right? But it's like you go to the doctor, you're having health issues, and they basically say this could be something. right? Like, and we have to, and this actually happened to my brother-in-law recently, is like, they're concerned about, he goes, he's having this, he's been sick forever. They think that they're like, it could be this, it could be that. Lymphoma was one of them. And right. And like, then you have months. It's like, oh, wait, you think I could have cancer, but you're not going to see me for 2 months.
Right.
Right. And all you do at that point is wonder how bad it is, how life could be. You have 4 kids, like all of this. And you're just in this. That beginning of the season is going to the doctor in a sense. And you could have this or something to that effect. And then somehow those past 5 games are going to the doctor and saying, you know what, it's not cancer. There's still problems. It was such a weird season, CK. And I know people thought I was insane at one point and saying, is this season worse? Do you remember how many times I said that in the first 8 weeks of last year's post games? Is this season actually worse than last year? And people are like, "Oh, stop!" And then it was started to get like, "Holy crap!"
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, and like doomsday of where all of a sudden, man, Bryce Young could be considered not part of the future plan of the Carolina Panthers just after a year and 6 weeks. And now, like you said, the last 6 weeks of that season, right? You said 5 games. It might have been, you throw in those 2 that he came in a little bit. Either way, is talk about it's like a PR victory. Like is like we got to hire. I mean, it's insane how much that changed. I was ready to bury the C3 Panthers podcast last year at one point. I was just like, I don't even want to do it. I'm getting divorced. Like, all these different things. Like, call you guys, do the show, and I will show up, and you tell me how the game went. But wild, and now you watch that blueprint, you watch the reaction to it. You hear these fan reactions.
Mm-hmm.
It's like nothing ever happened. We just water off a duck's back.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like nothing ever happened. It's right now, man. If this Bryce Young thing turns around, that is going to be a storyline of like Panthers. Like that's going to be like that's going to be legend. Type storyline.
NFL legend, not even just Panther legend, but
dude, that's
NFL
be
legend.
That's going to be telling your grandkids about. I was a part of this moment when we were all like seeing this team go horribly wrong, and then all of a sudden we see this miraculous turnaround by a kid who had every single person in the entirety of sports shitting on him. And now we're at a position where it's just, oh man, it's anyway. I'm excited about the prospect of that being the outcome of Bryce Young's tenure and turning this franchise into something that's not irrelevant, as Dave Poitner would say.
Call in at 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. On top of that, the irony. Oh, look, bro, you're the second youngest on this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm the old hat, and you're on them Werther's originals.
No. CK is the youngest.
He is?
Oh, by a month, right?
Yeah, I'm a little bit older than.
Did you just turn 35? Yeah, you just turned 35.
I turned 35 in February.
Pass me one of them Werther's. It's like your grandma taking it out of your pocket. It's not even in a wrapper. That's whose joke is that? That's a stand-up joke. The number's 252-228-5098. The irony of what CK was talking about with the legend of Bryce Young, there's a little irony of that as we talked about the stakes. I don't know if I still have it pinned on my Twitter. One of the last articles I wrote for the website that has just become a legacy website in CarolinaCatChronicles.com is that like how much the first pick means and how it meant with Cam, like how it can change, all of these things. Is this going to be like the reverse careers, right? So Cam's career starts out in a sense on this rocket ship trajectory and then sort of crash lands in a way. right? Even though I'll defend it, I'll tell you why it wasn't a crack. All these different things is because I'm cam sexual here. But on the other hand, is Bryce starts out his first launch for SpaceX is an explosion, or a disaster, and then he turns into SpaceX maybe next. The number is 252-228-5098. Cody, let's take another call.
Let's do it.
Hey guys, John B. Jenkins here, and as always,
John
I promise
B.
to keep you guys updated on all the spring and summer football action going on during the off season. That was a tongue twister, wasn't it? Anyway, want to give you all a little update on the ELF. Our Panthers are going to be facing the Prague Lions this coming weekend. Panthers are 1-1, and the Prague Lions are 1-3. Prague's kind of a middle of the road team, so this is a chance for a victory to get us back in the win column here. Let's see, the UFL. I don't know if anybody's been paying attention to that, but that's been pretty fun. That's wrapped up its regular season, and they're going to do their conference championship games. And the one to watch that's probably going to be the most exciting is going to be the one in St. Louis, the Battlehawks hosting the DC Defenders. Those people really show up to watch those Battlehawks games, so that should be a pretty fun game to watch. Another fun league that I've been watching is the La Liga de Fútbol Americano Profesional down in Mexico. And then, the Osos de Monterrey, the Monterrey Osos or Monterrey Bears that Ryan Khalil and Blake Griffin own, they happen to be like the best team in the league right now. Their quarterback is some guy named Shelton Epler, who actually played in the European League a couple years ago with the Vienna Vikings. I'm not sure how I know that, but and then let's see what else. They've got a couple really good American wide receivers, and they're just happen to be tearing up the league. And apparently Khalil and Griffin have been, keeping a presence around the team. So I don't know, maybe that's helping. In other news, PJ Walker is I think solid backup quarterback for the Calgary Stampeders now up in the CFL. He's
nice.
Some more preseason action. You guys can catch those highlights on YouTube. And then as far as things on YouTube, man, the Blueprint, that I watched that last night. That was friggin' amazing. And I think Pat McAfee nailed it when he pointed out how Tepper was just sitting and watching Dan and Brant work. So I don't know. I'm really excited about this year for the Panthers. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for right now. As always, keep pounding Carolina Panthers, keep pounding Panthers Broschlaw, and keep pounding C3 Panthers Podcast. Love you guys. John B.
Keep pounding.
Thank you, John B. Jenkins, for the continued updates. You keep this show cooking when it comes to Panthers international news. Thank you. Also, actually, should we say happy birthday? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy belated birthday to JD. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Wow. You got the serenade going. That's awesome, brother. That's awesome.
Let's keep rocking with the calls, my man.
Yeah, man.
What's good, C3? This is Deez, and I'm trying to get in my cat call. Just one day removed from the 2025 iteration of the Panthers Blueprint. Fantastic episode. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. And my favorite part was Brant Tillis and Dan Morgan working together side by side, just like peas and carrots. But I wanted to tackle this call, the same thing as I did on my last call, but get into a little more information on it, okay? I'm talking about top rushing leaders in Carolina Panthers history. Just for the Carolina Panthers, yards and touchdowns, okay? Pretty straightforward. Y'all named a couple of them last time. Of course, Jonathan Stewart, number one, 7,300 yards rushing, 51 touchdowns on the ground. D'Angelo Williams right behind him at 6,800 yards with 46 rushing touchdowns. Everyone's favorite and my favorite as well, Cam Newton at 5,000 yards, 63 touchdowns on the ground. And then after him at number 4, Christian McCaffrey at about 4,000 yards and 32 touchdowns. Deshaun Foster clocks in at number 5, 3,300 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns. And then next, number 6, our man, ready to start for us in the 2025 season. I can hear the train coming, guys. That's right. It's Chuba Hubbard at about 3,200 rushing yards and 22 touchdowns. So what I'm really trying to get at here is that if Chuba Hubbard has another healthy season, doesn't take an injury, he doesn't even need 1,000 yards to catch Christian McCaffrey all time for what Christian McCaffrey did for the Carolina Panthers on the ground. Same thing with the rushing touchdowns. He literally could make that number this year as well, only needing 10 to tie Christian, when that's exactly what he had last season. We know Chuba Hubbard was in the top 5 for a lot of the season, but got benched with that injury towards the end of the year and slipped back out of the top 5 of the NFL rushing leaders. And I promise you, they're not giving him the respect he deserves going into this year. When we look back at some of these other guys that we hold in high regard to be great rushers for the Carolina Panthers, we think about guys like Stephen Davis. He only had about 2,100 rushing yards and 20 touchdowns. Fred Lane comes to mind, only about 2,000 yards. Anthony Johnson, only about 1,800 yards. Nick Goins, only 1,500 rushing yards for the Carolina Panthers. And everybody loves Mike Tolbert, right? Didn't even reach 1,000. 992 for Tolbert. And one of my personal favorites, and a guy that I thought had a ton of rushing yards, Brad Hoover. He didn't even get to 1,000, 961. So what I'm saying is, if we were to build a Mount Rushmore just on rushing yards for the Carolina Panthers at the end of the 2025 season, Chuba Hubbard would be on it at number 4. Most people wouldn't expect that. And it was something I found interesting and wanted to point out and talk with you guys about. I hope that you have a great and a fantastic.
What a great call, Brandon Bass.
Fantastic call. That's why we love these, man.
Always brings the energy.
Dude, every single cat call he does, all the time on the Friday free-for-all, he brings the heat, man. Listen, this is a conversation.
Don't you let him finish every free-for-all?
Oh, yeah, dude, he has to. That's the Brandon Bash. That's the best way to close it out. But this is a conversation that started on the free-for-all. We were talking about, and I even mentioned this to you last Tuesday, Tony. Could Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle put up an all-time rushing season for the Panthers? Some people said yes. Some people said not at all.
I got mad.
Some people got mad that we would ever put them anywhere near Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams. But there's a lot of people who believe that there is a ton of potential in this current rushing attack, and that it prompted us to look back into Panthers history and look at some of the better rushers and what they were able to do early on in their career. So shout out to D's, man. We do have a pretty prolific history of running back talent in this organization. I mean, you can make the case that a bunch of those names were better Panthers than Christian McCaffrey, and McCaffrey is, one of the best running backs in all the NFL. So great discussion. Great call by D's.
Speaking of Panthers history, this is going to be a historic year for the C3 Panthers podcast for the Carolina Panthers. We wanted to go ahead and plug this. Go ahead and mark FanFest. CK, what's the date? It is
August 2nd, if I'm not mistaken.
August 2nd, Saturday. Go ahead and mark it down that we're going to be in Charlotte. We're going to be at FanFest. CK, I need you to text me tonight the hotel that we're going to stay at. And it could be the best. You can pick the best hotel. I got to get it. I got to book it. I got to go ahead and take care of it. So you just tell me where we're staying at. We got to do it. You just give me the dates.
You got it.
All right. You guys go ahead and mark this down. FanFest this year. We're going to be there. We want you to be there. We want the C3 Legion there. We're going to have a live broadcast afterwards. We're going to have a live podcast. We're going to probably do it at the same place. We still got to line that up where the location will be at. But we're going to make it a giant deal. They're going to be not only are going to be giveaways this year, the first 20 people that walk in the door are going to get a gift from me or from us. From us. I'm sorry. I didn't say me. But I'm gonna put the bags together. Right? But the first 20 people that walk in that door are going to get an automatic gift from us. Right. So you guys go ahead and mark down that it's time. This is the year for the C3 Panthers podcast and the C3 Legion. And it starts at Fanfest. We're actually starting in 2 Tuesdays from now.
Ooh.
Next Tuesday, following Tuesday, as we give away historic memorabilia from Bank of America Stadium. And talk about legends. Cody.
Yeah, man.
My man.
Yeah.
Hanging out. Just hanging out with Panther legends on his own time.
Yeah, man. Listen, not to, spoil what C3 has coming up in the future, but let's just say Tony Dunn has been working on some dope ass swag for the C3 Legion, and I've been working on securing some interviews with Panthers legends. Oh, let me bring this one down. Bring this one up. No big deal.
Today,
Your boys, this is
with a great with a tell it. CK, is he in the Hall of Honor?
He's in the Hall of Honor.
Yes, he is.
He's an honorable.
He is in the Hall of Honor. He's in the Ole Miss Hall of Honor. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler. Your boy got to meet the legendary Wesley Walls today at
not just meet him, hang out with him.
Oh, dude, we were literally at the same.
Hanging out with you, bro.
We were at the same table, brother. I've been working with the Friends Foundation. They provide resources to people with neuromuscular diseases. They do incredible work. I've been working with them for a while now, and my man Todd was able to put me at the table with Wesley Walls himself, and I'm here to report we are working on an interview, and we will have him on the pod. And dude, he was so so jovial, such a nice man. He was answering any and every question that I had. He even said, "Now, am I allowed to be honest about how bad they've been?" And I said, "Yes, sir. You are more than welcome to be as honest as you would like." So, yeah, man, look forward to an interview with Wesley Walls here on the C3 Panthers podcast.
Man, I'm telling you, there is nothing greater than hanging out with your buddies, chopping up Panthers news and opinions on Tuesday night, and then hanging out with Panther legends, doing all this. Like, what? I mean, this it's gotten us through so many tough times in our own lives, our own personal lives. But this is a wonderful day, and I love how this is that you see what these people give back to the community, and these, we see, oh, I have this foundation, I have this. This was a real thing that's touching to your own life, and it's really great to hear that. And who doesn't love double W squared? Wesley Walls, a legend. Sir. We're gonna get him on the podcast. We're gonna hopefully line up some more. We're gonna continue to work. We're gonna get off the blacklist and onto the Panthers list one day. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, the longest running Panthers podcast. Please do us a favor and subscribe. Man, we've got a bunch of people watching tonight. It's been the dog days of Panther fandom, but you guys have been there. You are here for us right now, and you've been there. I have people, and you know what? I'm going to give some shout outs. Let me go ahead, because I got 2 messages. These uplift me so much. Shout out to Tim Stellings, who straight up just called me one day, and he's like, just want to touch, man. Man. We fam, just called me. And you know what? What was the reason for a call? That we all a family. That was it. Just like checking in, just hanging out. Video call. I did not. How about this? This is how I'm starting to hit old manish. Right? It's like, I just thought the phone was ringing. I answered it. It was a video call. I was like, oh shit. I'm laying in bed. Sleeping in. Also, shout out to Jarrell Rogers, who just hits me up. He's been a listener for probably the entire time. Like OG listener. And just sent me a message. These types of things uplift my day. He just sent me a message on Facebook. Hit me up. And it was just him. He just took a picture of listening to the podcast. You guys are fantastic. You got us through COVID. You got us through personal problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds so weird. But like, look, it is become, we've always said this, or I've always said this. I'm not a football expert. I'm an expert football fan.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to you, talking with you. And we've really created an incredible community, or not created. That makes it sound like I'm not even taking credit for it. I'm just saying you guys are incredible to me. And I know you're incredible. You mean a lot to the other two on this panel. And I know, God bless, rest in peace, Joe Riolano.
Freaking Puerto Rican, man.
Yeah. Still every podcast we do is giving it up to Joe Riolano. Thank you so much, man. 252-228-5098. Cody, let's keep rocking.
Yeah, man.
Happy Tuesday. What's up, y'all? It's the Hope Dealer checking in real quick. I hope everybody's doing well out there.
What's up, brother?
I just wanted to check in with everybody. You know, I've been hearing a lot that's been said in the rumor mill regarding Jalen Ramsey. And, you know, I just had to come on, man, and just talk about this real quick. You know, y'all might be surprised, but I'm actually not big on the Jalen Ramsey potential move. And the reason why is because, you know, I look at Jalen Ramsey like, yes, he's a great player, but he's an aging player, and the price tag will be so big. Not to mention when you think about the chemistry, you know, we just re-signed Mike Jack. And I don't think we re-signed Mike Jack just to be a depth piece behind Jalen Ramsey. Because he's getting paid a decent amount. You know, it's not tremendously big, but it's a decent amount. So, you know, the way I look at it, you know, let's just ride it out with Mike Jack. And rather than go for somebody like Jalen Ramsey, you know, let's go after a safety. I'm thinking maybe somebody like Julian Blackman, you know, to really kind of round out that secondary room. Because, you know, a healthy J.C. Horn and a healthy Mike Jack, I think with this new defense up front, should be able to get the job done, at least make some penetration, get some things going so we can improve. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents, man. Once again, it's the Hope Dealer checking in. I appreciate everybody out there, man. I hope everybody's staying hopeful. Love you, C3 Legion. Talk to you later, and keep pounding.
Keep pounding. He brought up Jalen Ramsey, and he's, you know, getting a little bit long in the tooth. And, you know, he is over 30 years old, or he either is or he's about to be. But Shannon Quick, Vashti Hurt commented on this and said, y'all can chill on the Jalen Ramsey speculation. I have no idea what that means or what she knows. But, yeah, Hope Dealer, I don't think you have anything to worry about, brother. I kind of don't think that's something that's going to be on the radar. But who knows? But apparently, Vashti is saying that that we should chill on that speculation. So I don't know. I would have enjoyed it to happen, but at the same time, I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about Chow Smith-Wade as well, being that nickel corner for us this year. Michael Jackson was good for us last year, but you know, a lot of people are still thinking that we could potentially upgrade that position. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what other moves Dan Morgan does make before the start of the season and what those moves would be.
The Cody, let's keep rocking with these calls.
Yeah, man. We have a few slides too if you want to go through.
Yeah, here. Let's switch back then. Let's switch
back.
Man. Yeah, but you help your producer. Come on, producer.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
It's like help me, help you.
Got you, brother. Not a whole bunch anyway, but here we have T-Mac saying how much guys like Hunter Renfrow and Adam Thielen have been beneficial to his game. You know, this is from Darren Gant. Ted Rowe McMillan still making progress with tutors on both sides of the ball. He would go on to say, God has blessed me with a bunch of things, but I'm always looking to improve my game, especially in a room with Hunter Renfrow and Adam Thielen. Guys like those, I look at them and kind of steal certain moves, certain things they do to get open and create separation, just add to my game. And, you know, this reminds me, you know, for us, as much as we made about him not being necessarily the best of the best route runners coming out of college, it's important to remember how young he really is and how much he has left to learn.
I don't know if we did. And
pick up
this isn't
on
like
these
defending like
Sure.
positions of us or Panther Nation, but I
right.
brought this up, and I think the podcast after the draft, right? And like when we were talking about these, like we had the full draft, is that it feels like, and I've been doing this podcast now for what, 13? It's gonna be our 14th year, right? In a sense, I think. It's been a long time. It's been a lot.
Yeah.
2013, maybe this will be a 13th, but like every draft year, and you have to kind of go back and look at it. I'm a historian by trade. So you look back and, think about these different things. And there's always something that's like, not one thing, but there are things that stand out like that people covet and that people talk about. And I just remember that DJ Moore draft. Right. And you got DJ Moore, and who's the guy? He plays in Tennessee, went to the Falcons.
The
both. It was, we picked 16 that year. We picked a wide receiver, and we had our choice.
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
And then there are certain years where I guess receivers maybe are the talk of the town, right? Maybe it's the years that receivers are the thing. And you talk about this, can run all the routes, polish route, like these kind of like, I'm in a sense buzzwords, right? But, and I didn't follow the draft talk as closely as so many people did. I really feel collectively that Panther fans didn't follow draft talk as closely as they have in the past in so many ways. But there was just I didn't hear that oh, he's this is the greatest route runner, this is the most upside, this is that. I didn't hear him either being a poor route runner or a great route runner. The only thing I continue to hear is just not top end speed. And then the guy runs like a 4.4. And I was like, what do you mean?
Well, it was a hand time. So it wasn't laser time. And then apparently other scouts had him in the 4.5. But there have been many of very good wide receivers that didn't run a 4.3, and they've still been very successful in the NFL. But I'm just heartened by the fact that he's still a young guy. I mean, remember, you're talking about Ridley and how we took DJ Moore. It took DJ Moore a long time to really, become the dynamic weapon that he sort of was later in his career. And obviously he had such a problem having a quarterback getting the ball to his hand. But I feel like later on in his career, you really saw what he was capable of more so than you did in those first couple of seasons. And I do remember there were some routes that I felt like just he ran a lot of banana routes, DJ Moore did, I felt earlier in the season. So there's room to grow, there's room to enhance, and I'm heartened that T-Mac is already starting to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I love, again, it feels like he's complete. Like there's not much that we can look at as being like negative about his game. Like I don't really know that he has a weakness, and even the thing that I think people were talking about was his speed. Like from what I've heard from people who've watched the tape, who see him at the combine, he's still a pretty quick wide receiver.
Yeah, he's
for the
fast.
size that he has.
I mean, he runs a 4.46.
Yeah. So I'm right there with you. I think that he is, when you watch him run, I love the description people give, and that it's effortless. And I think that's pretty accurate. When I watch him running these routes, it feels like he's not having to try. And I think that's interesting to me.
Don't forget, the C3 Panthers podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy Sports. That's right. It's the place to go. If you want to make picks during playoff basketball, Underdog is the leading place to make your sports pick, and you can now play in your state. And I know you can play in North Carolina because I play. You've helped me win money. Millions of fans have already won billions by making picks. Will you be next? To play, all you have to do is download the app, Underdog, and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. You can choose from things like points, assists, and so much more. In fact, I'm going to pull it up right now. I'm going to tell you this. Let's go to the NBA because it's NBA playoff time where playoffs are coming right now. Thursday, tomorrow. No, Thursday, Indianapolis at OKC. You can get Shy SGA MVP, I believe, right? For like the second or third time. Boy, high or low or 33.5 points. 3-pointers made, 1.5. I feel like I'm going higher right away on that. If this dude's higher or lower is 33.5, this dude has to make more than 1 3-pointer. You can get Tyrese Halliburton, 17.5 points right now, 2.5 3-point points made. Go more. Jalen Williams, OKC, 22.5. There's a lot of things to do on Underdog right now. You have made me money. Go ahead, hit me on Twitter or X. I still call it Twitter. Hit me on X and give me a pick for Thursday. I need your help. Once you feel your picks are good, you can play with as little as $1. If you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. You've helped me win money. Go ahead and download the Underdog app and sign up with the promo code C3P and unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code C3P. You've helped us. Underdog messaged us and said, your fans or your listeners have responded. So the more you respond, the more you help this podcast. You must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP 253-342. Or in New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Cody, Lat, where are we going next?
Yes, sir, man. So listen, this is sort of something that made the rounds on Twitter, X, however you want to call it. So PFF, CK put out their top 10 cornerback rankings. Sauce Gardner, Pat Surtain, Trick McDuffie, Jalen Johnson, Derek Stingley Jr., DJ Reed, Marlon Humphrey, Christian Benford, Jair Alexander, and Denzel Ward. Well, as you might notice, there is a very highly paid corner for the Panthers who is not on that list. So J.C. Horn quote tweeted this and then subsequently deleted it later, but says this is what happens when you let nerds who never touch a field feel like they know ball. Now, he would later go on to delete this tweet. It's also relevant that there are the Carolina Panthers right now. They have PFF has J.C. Horn ranked as number 25 on their list. If that doesn't show you that PFF is not the be-all, end-all of football evaluations, I don't know what does.
I have a take here.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're not playing against the best player on the offense every single snap, like you're not going to get the rankings that show you that you're a top 5 cornerback.
Because you're playing in its own defense. They don't move them around. One, it does not highlight particularly your ability. And CK, I got to take. And I shouldn't make it on this podcast because we're supposed to be like, oh, we love everything. I mean, everybody just says this mug is shut down, locked down. Like, and he's good, really good, but lots of injuries. CK, I don't even know if I mean, like maybe 25 is a little.
I will be fair in that regard, right? I might have a take, but that's ridiculous.
Right.
Like, Like,
I mean,
am I
he's
mad?
not. I don't know, and I won't say this like with definitively. You know, I'm not ready to put him in the top 10.
Right.
I think
And
the hard part is,
yeah, your kids. You know, every kid's picture, whether a baby picture, your kid is the most beautiful kid in the world.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this: is baby pictures, especially infant pictures. I hate to tell y'all. I thought my firstborn was the most beautiful kid in the world. I look back, he looked like an angry old man.
Isn't
All
that wild?
little kids look like angry old men.
was anybody honest enough with you to tell you, nah, your kid's ugly as fuck?
No.
It doesn't even matter. They can tell you they're ugly, and you'd be like, nah, this is the most beautiful kid ever.
Dude,
Right. My mom still to this day is like, oh, people would stop me and tell me how beautiful you are.
My problem with this list is that I'm not familiar enough with every single one of these guys to know that they are definitively better than JC Horn. Look, we can all say the quiet part.
You know what the problem with the list should be, Cody, right away is number 2.
Patrick Surtain drafted right after him.
Right. I mean, that's the thing that's going to get people going. That's your neighbor saying my baby's prettier than your baby.
Yeah. I mean, that's tough one. But listen, you mentioned it earlier. The injuries have hampered him. Like if he had been doing what he did last year for all these years, I have no doubt in my mind that he would be listed as a top 5 player. But I think the problem is like, do you mean to tell me that outside of this list, there are 15 other corners better than JC Horn? Dude, that's a little bit absurd.
All right, there's 2 things that come to mind. One, give a shout out to Clip Brock, host of Pirate Radio Live. Catch me there 4:00 every Friday, talking Panthers and NFL. He said this: you want to get the internet? He said just make a list. Like you want to get the internet going, make a list. And you know what? Is make a bad list. You want to get some publicity? Make a bad list. And then people will go nuts over it, right? So you got a list, number 1, right? And we're talking about, oh, we're checking it twice, this and that. I think CK's point is the point to talk about, though, and to think about, is that if you are that good, that elite, right? Why is the defense, in a sense, not tailored around you, in a sense? And is that a deficiency in Double E's defense? Is it a deficiency in scheme? Or does it tell us something? And I'm not shitting on him. Like, I think a good player, player. You're a good player. He had the pedigree. He had the draft stock. He's played well when he's been on the field. He's had some challenges, but you're not a great player until you, I won't say earn it, but like you get it on the field. And he's a good player right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's right now they literally know that our defense, all they have to do is move their best weapon on the other side of the field. And we're not going to have an answer for a Jamar Chase. Right. And that's fair, by the way. Like, I don't think that it's unreasonable. I mean, I think it would be unreasonable for me to make this assumption that that Mike Jackson would be able to handle these, these crazy good wide receivers being a number 2 in the league, right? Like, I just don't think that that's a reasonable take. When you don't have to, when your game plan is all you have to do is just shift your receiver to the other side of the field, like that's not a good.
It seems weird, doesn't it? It's okay.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I want to ask you about that. Like even if you're playing zone, right? Like, so like we're going to play zone defense on this play. We're not playing man to man. Why can't you just flip it? to disguise that it's zone, right? Like you can just switch the sides they're on. And again, expert football fan, not football expert. So somebody can teach me on this. I'll be happy to know and explain. But like, why couldn't you basically say if their greatest wide receiver is on this side and we're still playing zone, why don't you just flip the fucking zone and put JC in that guy's zone?
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's one other thing when it comes to this list. It's not a list that's the problem or anything. Like, it's about what is sexy.
Yeah.
And JC ain't had the interceptions.
No. Again, that's because and you can look at his average passer rating against them. You also, if you look at the volume, he's not getting a lot of work. It's because they are avoiding him, and that's a good stat to have.
It is,
which is having no pass attempts to your side of the field, because that tells you that they are really just throwing to the opposite side. They're just throwing wherever you're.
They don't want to. He's a problem,
right? So I mean, that's very helpful. But again, because you're absolutely right, he's not going to have the sexy stats. He isn't going up against their premium talent. And when he does, he seems to hold his own, but it's not consecutive. It's not enough for them to be able to give a consensus to say that this dude is better than a Denzel Ward type of a situation,
Cody, it reminds me a little bit of, not reminds me, but like the Brian Burns discussion or anything like this is like, you can be disruptive as a pass rusher, but what gets you paid are sacks.
Oh yeah,
right?
for
Like,
sure.
I mean, that's what gets you paid. And obviously he's dealt with so many struggles, and I'm actually really encouraged by it. All of this, that he's continued to not respond, but like physically, he is like, these are things that are not destroying him physically. But the lack of, if he had 6 interceptions, that paycheck is like 30% bigger, right? It's like, so you can say, oh, I'm a disruptive pass rusher, but I don't get the sacks. Those get you paid.
It's also for a corner. If they're not throwing you the ball, you're not going to have, if they're not throwing the ball at you, you're not going to have those guardian numbers. Listen, I maintain that the injuries, if you look at what he was able to do in college and what he was able to do the past few seasons, the most recent few seasons, I think that JC Horn is a shutdown corner. I really do. When you look at what he did to Neighbors last year, what he's been able to do to a bunch of different players, really, really, really good players. Like, also, just because he doesn't travel doesn't mean that he has or that he doesn't have the capability to do so.
Right. And that's what we have to continue not to ask, but we've talked about this on the podcast several times. Is like, is it Double E's system? Is it these different things? He does what he's been asked to do. But if you are that top 10 corner, why are you not using him like that?
Yeah.
And CK has been so consistent on this throughout.
I mean, it's hard not to. It's really hard not to look at this from that type of a situation where it's sort of like if you're an offensive lineman, right? Or let's just say you're an edge rusher, but they're just double teaming you all the time, right? You're not going to have sexy stats. You impact the game, but you're not you're not going to get a Pro Bowl nod, just because. I mean, typically you're not, and that's mainly because you're just not going to stick out to people who are voting for those things. Same thing with, I think, PFF. Until they can see the consistency in your play going up against the number 1 wide receiver, I just don't think you're going to get much love. Period.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep rocking. You pick it. Calls, topics.
We'll do one more and then we'll finish out the calls. So, as some of you know, the OTAs are going on. for a lot of teams, the Panthers included. And an interesting tidbit today, center Austin Corbett was running with the second team offense. Andy Dalton disconnected. Okay, so that was a play. But Cade Mays was the first string center. My question to you is, does that mean anything to you? Do you trust that Cade Mays to win the center job away from Brady Christensen and Austin Corbett? And let's just add on to this conversation, because the Detroit Lions were blindsided by the sudden retirement of All-Pro center Frank Ragnow.
Isn't he a young player too?
He is. He only played like 7 years. He had a relatively short career, but decided to call it quits because of his health. So Dean Jones, shout out to Dean on Cat Crave, says, this is where the Panthers could come in. We have a surplus of centers, 3 players on the squad. Corbett, Mays, and Christensen have proven to be capable starters. Would you be willing to shop one of our 2 pivotal depth pieces to get something for them?
CK, you shake your head definitively. Tell us why.
I mean, who do we have to back up these guys? Austin Corbett's been injury prone.
Yep.
Cade Mays has had an injury or 2 in his rookie year.
It's like sort of unestablished in a way.
Right. And so nobody's going to trade for Cade Mays right now and give you anything substantial that's going to make that worth it. Austin Corbett's not going to garner much, value, mainly out of the fact that he is also coming off of 2 consecutive years of knee injuries. He might have played, relatively well, but if you can have both of these guys playing well, there is no value you're going to get by trading them. Now, if we're halfway through the season and the team's not doing well, then, maybe we reevaluate that. But I just don't think that there's any value in doing that right now. And
I guess maybe what the way to think about that is, what would they give you? What would you get for that player? Is it a future pick? I don't think future picks help the Panthers tremendously right now.
Right.
Like, I would want a player. Like, you want to talk about, like, giving me a safety, something like that. But, like, a second, a third, a fifth in the future does not really help you. I don't think so. And I think CK's onto something, is that this center position is not established for the Carolina Panthers.
No.
It's not established. Like, right, you have Austin Corbett, who has been good when he's played, but has continued to suffer important injuries. He's another player that you kind of wonder, do you learn a lesson in signing a free agent coming off an injury? Right? Who's coming off an injury when we signed him.
Yeah.
And he has been a good player. Like, if Austin Corbett comes on this podcast, I'll be clapping, and be like, he is great. And I think he's going to be listed as the starter going in. Yeah. I would. If I'm penciling the chart right now, is Austin Corbett the starter? Cade Mays fighting for it. I think what will happen is, or what I think would be ideal, is Austin Corbett starting the season, and with the idea that Cade Mays can step into there and be the guy when he does inevitably. I'm sorry. This sounds so cold. Austin, forgive me.
Gets injured.
Suffer the injury. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But it happens. It happens in the football world.
I would prefer the younger player win the job. And Cade Mays, he was good last season. I mean, look at the right there. I mean, he had 29 pass blocking snaps, 0 pressures allowed. I just want the best man to win. And you're right, Tony. He has been injured every single year, Austin Corbett. So I'm at the point
And dude, does anybody really? We're gonna get into this so much as we get to training camp,
right?
And our big Fanfest podcast that we're gonna be doing. But is it a real one question I've asked on this podcast for so many years? Is it really a competition? Everybody says it's a competition. But we could talk. You want to talk about kickers, Cody? No, we're not going to talk about it and go for hours and hours. But like, is it truly a competition? Or
I mean,
is it
do
the
you really
person?
think it's not? Do you think that Corbett just has a fast track to the starting job? Because I kind of don't think so, man.
I mean, I don't know.
I really don't feel like any of them are the head favorite amongst the coaching staff.
Yeah.
I really
just
don't.
don't know, Cody, if the idea that we don't know, right? Like it's like 1A, 1B, and we're going to let them figure it out in training camp and somebody's going to win. I think it's so difficult for a person who is the 1B or the B to win the competition. And let's go back, and we're not going to talk about it, but just think of Harrison Butker, Graham Gano. You know, it's like, who won the fucking competition? Was there, like, are these real competitions? I don't know. I don't know how much. They always say that. I don't know if it's coach speak or if it's real.
I think the fact that they're giving Cade Mays reps with the ones means that there probably is a legitimate competition.
But how do you know that? We haven't even.
My faith is more based on Canales and Dan Morgan actually letting these players have opportunities that prior coaching staffs would have never let happen. Maybe I'm being hopeful. Maybe I'm just, looking at the glass half full. But that's at least what I'm hoping that I'm seeing out of this.
All right, we got more to talk about, or are we finishing with the comments?
Let's finish out. Well, we only have one more, don't we? No, we have two. All right, let's do a call.
Yo, what's going on, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte.
What up, man?
Have a good Tuesday, man. I honestly forgot it was Tuesday today. I thought it was Wednesday. Anyways, I know this, you guys are going to go over the blueprint and this and that. I watched it myself last night, personally. I got some takeaways. So, the number one thing I want to say first is, like I've been preaching about how Dave Canales, don't trust what that dude says out of his mouth. Actions speak louder than words. Same thing with the front office. Now, what I mean trust, I don't necessarily mean like don't trust them and like believing in them. No, I believe in them, and I think you should too. I think they know what they're doing. But what you are seeing is we are doing different things than past years with this team. Like, the McMillan pick was not a Carolina Panthers normal pick. What I mean by that is, in past years, they would listen to the noise. Whatever the biggest need was, they would take that guy. And Dan Morgan, listen, if you are a Dan Morgan fan, you have to believe in this pick. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have both sides of it. The reason I say that is he had conviction on this player, and he's been with this organization. He's been a player here. He's been through the good days. He's been through the horrible days. There was even shade thrown at the past front office about yes men and stuff like that. But he's seen this team fail Cam Newton. There is no reason why Cam Newton should have went into that 2015 season with that wide receiver core. Downright atrocious. Still one of the greatest quarterback seasons I've seen live on TV. It was amazing. But he's trying to supplement his quarterback here, man. And this is what you do for a year 3 guy who showed a ton of promise at the end of last year. We know he can play quarterback in this league. The logic that I've been using for a while now, for months, is you've seen what he can do with like an average supporting cast. Go get him that guy, and his game can take off. It shows that they know what they're doing, man. Like, they understood the value of the draft. We saw the behind the scenes of the trade up. The Rams wanted to trade up. Dan Morgan, this is what I love about him. He's not going to give up premium assets for cheap. Okay, he said they're going to have to go above and beyond instead of a fair deal if they want this 8th pick, because we really love this guy. That's what you got to do, man. There's no more BS trading for underwhelming players who haven't turned out to pan out to be anything, or giving up premium assets for bad players. There's none of that. I thought this draft blueprint was great. The behind the scenes of the edge rushers, everything was great. Those are my thoughts. Again, my final word is, if you believe in Dan Morgan, you got to believe in this pick. Anthony from Charlotte,
keep pounding. Yeah, I mean, look.
You got to also believe in Xavier Leggett.
Yeah, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. You have to believe in all these dudes.
They do.
Yeah.
How about that?
Who's
the
they?
Panthers do. Dan Morgan does.
I think we should too. I think we have a lot of reason to believe that these guys have yet to see anywhere close to their full potential. You know? And I'm hoping that Dave Canales can be the one to actually bring it out of them. But I agree with what Anthony said. He was a fan of Nalo for a long time, so I know he's happy about it. Yeah,
from the beginning.
He was. Yeah, from the beginning. But gotta keep that same energy for Excel, man. Like CK said, I think we have a potential to be a very dangerous offense this year. So I'm happy for it.
Let's keep going.
Yep. 2 more.
Hey guys, Chuck from Elizabeth City.
What's up, Chuck?
You know, looking at this Panther Blueprint video they put out, you know it's going to be one-sided because it's definitely the Panthers have made it. And you can go back 5, 6 years ago and watch something, and it's fool's gold. You know, we see something, have high hopes for the Panthers, and it never pans out. But I really do think we're heading in the right direction. One thing I got to say about David Tepper, I think he's definitely comfortable with Dan Morgan as his GM and Grant Tillis, and Canales as his head coach. I think he's not like feeling he picked people around him and he's made a knee-jerk decision, bad mistake. I think some of the things he did early on, some people blame him and say he's a terrible owner. I just think he really tried to push to have his way right away. It doesn't always work that way when you're building a franchise. And I'm bringing all this up just to say, I think we're on the right path. I think we're comfortable with our coach, our GM, the process, the system. I think Tepper and his wife have they've fallen in line with how the franchise should be run. We're getting a good amount of good players right now. The drafts are going well. I think we do need to temper our expectations. I don't think we're going to be just 11, 12, 19.
Tepper.
But I definitely think we're going to win our share of games. And I'm feeling that 7 wins, 7 and 10 is the floor. I'll be happy with that. I'm hoping for 8 and 9 or 9 and 8 or better. Especially if we get to 8 or 9 wins, because I think we're right there on the cusp. And then next year will be the year that we'll really break through. So I just want to let you know, guys, it's just good to see we're going in a positive direction for a change.
Yeah, we're going to drop some history facts on you. Prior to the United States being the United States, they were actually and it's like ridiculous. They didn't have a good name. It was the states under the Articles of Confederation, like the Confederate States under the Article of Confederation from 1781 to 1789. America existed as a country and they had a government, but it was almost overly democratic. If you listen to people like James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and one of the things is like there was no structure, there was no delegation, or there was a, not want to say no, but there was a lack of delegation of responsibility, a lack of structure, right? And it was so like Congress didn't have a leader, they didn't have any. It was just like, we're gonna imagine going to a meeting and no one chairs the meeting, has the agenda going forward. Imagine going to a classroom where we just all pick where it's going. You know, it's like, it becomes chaotic. And when I watched that video, and I mentioned it earlier in this show, is that it really felt like this was Dan Morgan's ship. He's captain. Brant Till is the co-captain. David Tepper is the owner of the ship. Right? Like they're responsible to, like, they have to answer to the person that owns the fucking vessel. But it truly felt like it was like this was a delegation of responsibility. And I come back to, like, we talked about, was Dan Morgan the right pick for GM? And CK, we discussed this for so long about the dance, the like, you know, cutting bait and this and that. But it really feels, or when I watch it,
yeah,
there's a comfortability with the roles.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Dan Morgan, this is his role. He is GM. Brant Tillis is his right man. And yes, David Tepper is their boss.
I think that the cool thing, so I think Dan Morgan by himself, I think might not bring the same energy as having Dan Morgan and Brant Tillis. Like, I feel like those two together are a perfect combination of somebody who knows football and somebody who knows strategy, right? And I think that that's necessary when you're a GM. And, you know, you look at somebody like Brandon Beane as an example, right? I think he's a great combination of both of those guys together, right? Now, I'm not saying Dan Morgan can't be better, can't be a bomb GM without Brant Tillis, but I just think the two of them are just feel like such a great team that
Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah,
the terrible analogy.
It's if it works, it works, and the whole point with that analogy would be the chemistry, and they certainly have it.
There's a compliment to them. There's a compliment to them. You know, it's like I feel like I just felt like Dan Morgan knew he was the final say.
Right.
Shout out to the real AP. Honest question. Can we ever go one podcast without mentioning Cam? The answer is absolutely no. I'll put a Ben Franklin on that. We can't. Oh, so he already knows we can't leave the past in the past. Sorry. No way. No way. I'm leaving Cam in my past.
Can't move on.
I can't move
on.
They
say that first love, it never leaves you.
Right.
It never leaves you. You never get over the first.
And Cam Newton, those are my loves of my life. The number's 2-5. Well, actually, no, we're not.
Yeah, this is the final one.
Yeah, let's take this final call.
Please, C-Dog 1983 TV.
What up, C-Dog?
Come in here. Can you please hit the like button? Can you please subscribe to this great content? The C3 Podcast has been going, I mean, it's the longest running Panthers Podcast on YouTube. You gotta excuse me. I'm on a couple of socks. But, real quick, man, first off, man, shout out to Cody. I'm glad Cody back.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cody and his family. I hope they keep pounding. I hope his mom is doing better and everything.
Thank you, brother.
Number one. Now, with that being said, man, with the blueprint and everything, real quick, man, I feel like I was the first one to say goddamn Dan Morgan was fucking cooking.
Oh, you know why weren't we on the show? Why weren't you on the fucking video?
That's my personal opinion, you know. But anyway,
should have been, huh?
But it's our time, man. Bryce is finally here. You know what I'm saying? For all the haters, I can't wait to Bryce Young and Evero shut up all day haters this upcoming season.
Yeah.
We should win the division. You know, the only games I have us losing are the Packers, Bills, and who else?
San Fran.
Packers, the Bills, and the the Rams. Besides that, every other team we should beat. You know, but man, whenever you come in here, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the content. The boys go live every Tuesday. They got a free for all every Friday. They got the game simulation on
Appreciate you,
Madden on Saturday during the season. You know, they got the game recap on Sunday. I just want to call in and just say what's up with everybody, man. You know, and really just give a shout out to Cody and his family and everything. You know, but it's gonna be a great season. Anybody going to game one, I will be at game one of Duval. If you want to got that link up, chill, hit the tailgate before the game or something, or get some food. You know,
Let's do it.
C-Dog 1983 TV out. Keep pounding. Everybody have a great fucking week. You know what I'm saying? The C3 Podcast is the longest running Panther podcast on YouTube. Please
I might just
like
go to
and
that
subscribe
game
to the content.
to hit that.
Keep
just
pounding.
to stand
Everybody
to
have
the
a great
left.
night.
I might go to that game only
just to catch the second hand, from C-Dog.
Whatever you want. I'm gonna stand to the left because you know what you do.
Yes, sir. Hey man, shout out
that's
to
my
C-Dog.
boy, man. That's my dude.
We love C-Dog around these parts,
I
bro.
love so many. I love not everybody. I'm like, I love everybody. I'll kiss. But I do. But G baby, I saw you up in there. My boy Kev, who's like my brother from like the real days. I know these people are real.
Yes, sir.
Rookie wideout Jimmy Horn sideline with hamstring. Oh, ruined all of y'all
a little bit early. Yeah, just everybody's expectations.
He's gonna be the fucking greatest.
Look, man, this is why you have to watch out for those speedsters, man. They tend to have these hamstring injuries, but rookie wide receiver Jimmy Horn Jr. was sidelined with a recent hamstring strain. Canales said he was working his way through the return to play protocol. We're just rehabbing him. He's in return to play, and then as soon as we feel like he's ready to get back out there, we'll bring him out.
He better be ready by training camp.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, not a ton of news, but also this is why I feel like a lot of people, not everyone, but they're too hard on Hunter Renfrow. Like they have too much of the idea that, he's just the old white dude with a bad stomach that can't make the plays no more. And I feel like I feel like Hunter Renfrow, because of his, tenacity to come back from that, but the experience that he has, him being a Pro Bowler, man, don't count out Renfrow over Jimmy Horn Jr. just yet, man.
Oh, you better count out Jimmy Horn Jr. if I was.
I'm not counting him out, not yet.
I'm not count out. That's rude because it's not like you ain't gonna be a dude in the NFL,
right?
But like, come on, like this. Let's not get too woke. Like, I don't know. I'm like, we need them top three.
You just don't want to get your hopes up for a 7th round pick.
I'm not getting I ain't got no hopes. I got no hopes for this. I got no hopes, and it's not like I'm not trying to be rude. But look, who's the biggest fan of Cameron Artis-Payne? This guy. Who's the biggest fan of Demir Bird? This guy. And y'all all tell me these motherfuckers suck. And they were good.
They did. They were okay.
Nah, they were good. But
they were okay.
Don't get me in this conversation of like, oh my God, we got a damn. All right.
They were okay. Are y'all ready for the most important news story that we haven't even covered yet?
Stephon Diggs.
It is no. Way more important than that.
Why are we not talking about that?
Way more, because this is more important than that. I'm telling you. I don't know if y'all have seen this. We reacted to it on the free for all, but this, if you are not superstitious, you're about to be. So let's talk.
Holy shit! I don't even know what this means.
So in 2002,
I'm distracted.
In 2002, the Ohio State Buckeyes won the national championship when the Panthers had a losing record. Okay, the very next season, the Panthers opened up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That same year, Jennifer Lopez filed for divorce from her husband, Chris Judd, and the Panthers made the Super Bowl. Well, how about this, boys? We're not done.
Can you show us the backside
of
this?
In 2014, Ohio State national championship winners. Carolina Panthers open up the season with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jennifer Lopez.
One alcoholic with a girl with a great booty. I know all about this life.
Divorces Mark Anthony, and the Panthers make the Super Bowl. Well, Tony, CK, the stars are in alignment. Your 2024 national championship winners were the Ohio State Buckeyes, and the Panthers had a losing record.
Everybody put your money on the Panthers.
We are set to open up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And just a few days ago, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck have filed for divorce.
Oh, damn it.
Boys, if this doesn't mean that the Panthers are making the fucking Super Bowl, then I don't know what it is, bro. We're going to the bowl. Destiny has aligned. The stars have aligned. It is written.
I was going to put all of my money. I was going to empty my savings account. The idea of an alcoholic with a woman with the greatest butt. You know how meaningful this is personally to me? I would be like, every dollar I have. We need to flip this picture around.
Are y'all believing this? Are y'all believing this? Are you a believer?
So many terrible things.
Are you a believer? Is what I'm asking.
I don't know. I just want to look at J-Lo's butt.
If I find J-Lo's butt, will you answer the question?
If I find
J-Lo's
bank account on underdogfantasy.com.
Hold up.
All right. You know what is these? I don't even want to. I don't want to go into a conversation about it. But
why not? Are you afraid? Are you afraid of this?
No, I am not afraid of J-Lo's butt.
Are you sure?
I am not.
Are you sure?
I'm afraid. Like, why? I mean, I like Ben Affleck.
So you prefer Ben in this equation? What are we saying?
I prefer him. I'm just rooting for the alcoholic recovery.
All right, listen. I'm going to do you a favor, but you have to answer the question. Okay?
Right. Give me the exact question.
Does that work?
Hey, every dollar donated on Cash App is going towards.
Like, listen, this is safe. This is not inappropriate. This is safe for YouTube. But look, Ben Affleck said no more to this. In order for the Panthers to go to the Super Bowl, why aren't you so grateful to Ben Affleck right now, Tony? Why?
I am.
That's what I wanted to know.
Thank you. I mean, like, I don't know how to thank him enough. I don't know what to say.
Okay. How about you, man? Are we going to the Super Bowl?
So,
is it destiny?
Back it up and dump it. Kev said certified dump truck.
I don't
back it up and dump it. Back it up and dump it. Oh,
I can't look at the screen.
Sure you can.
Close your eyes, folks.
Sure you can.
Mesmerized. I can't. I ain't gonna say that. I don't know what to say other than thank you.
Just say the Panthers.
Yes,
are going to the Super Bowl.
All right. Well, then, yes.
We're going, baby. And you can thank J-Lo's sweet ass for that Super Bowl coming our way, baby. Let's go. I'm into it, boys. It's official. Put down your prop bets now.
Panther girl said, got to find Tony a date. No, you don't. I got the best. I got the dump truck. The dump truck be at my place.
Boys, that is a show.
Oh, man.
All right. We got one last segment to rock out. And that's the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast.
That last segment was ass, bro.
Well, guess what? Now we need to put some ice on it because it might be struggling. Cool down, folks. Let's cool this down with an ice up pick. It's the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. C3 Panthers Podcast. Subscribe, like, share. Do us a favor. Back it up and dump it. Back it up and dump it. Hit us with that ice up pick, Cody.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's our homage to Steve Smith, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. Everyone's fair game, from people on this podcast to ourselves, to our family, to our friends, to a 12-year-old in Oklahoma you've never met, who I've iced up. I don't remember his name, but ice up, homie. Let's ice some fools up. Cody, please tell me you got somebody dying on the internet. We miss it so much.
Yeah, nope. I feel like they're potentially death defying.
Oh,
I feel like my first ice up is, how hungry do you have to be to eat something like this? Dude, like full. Bro, like, how hungry?
That rice so bland.
I know there's no
that rice. Look, just got a little grease on it from that.
Watch, he's about to make out his. Watch, he's not done. Watch, this is absurd. Watch. Oh my God! For what? I don't know. Apparently, this is a delicacy in African countries. I think in Scotland as well. I just don't know how hungry you would have to be to take a goat head to the mouth, bro. I don't know. I'm gonna ice them up.
Sheep, goat.
If you're gonna make something like this, make it presentable. Whatever that was, I'm sorry, man.
I don't know. All right, CK, you gotta ice up for us.
I do have more after this.
Go ahead. Keep it going.
For real?
All right, well, let me bounce off you guys.
Yeah.
My ice up is to myself for not being a tougher parent. Right. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is not go up and say this is like, I got on the first non-affiliated plug, Mint Mobile, bomb. Ryan Reynolds, Chief. Mint Mobile is the bomb, man. But I set up some plans for myself, one of my kids. You know, you buy for the whole year, you get a great. I mean, it's incredible. And they run off the T-Mobile network too, right? So it's like, I bought my daughter my 12-year-old, and you know, you're trying to keep all your kids happy through life, through what they're going through, and what you do is you be a soft ass mofo. So I bought a phone, like a refurbished, because these bitches are iPhone people. I'm telling you, fuck you, iPhone people, your bougie ass shit, right? Like, you can get on that Google Pixel for better phone, better quality, all that shit, way cheaper. So I bought my daughter a phone, 12 for her birthday. Well, I bought her one for Christmas, and she broke the shit. Right?
Oh shit.
Yeah. And I'm like, how'd you break it? When we like, anyway. So I said, 5 months later, I bought her another phone. And because I prepaid for an entire year and got a great fucking rate, like, you need to bring your phone to the table. You know? I mean, well, you don't have to, but that's what you need. The best way to do it. So I bought this girl phone. It comes in the mail, and I said, you cannot use it until you get a case. And these little bougie ass motherfuckers want to pick their case out and this and that. The last time I picked the case out for her as a gift, and she was like, it's okay. I wish I would have gotten this case, all this shit. So I said, you can't use the phone until you get a case. And then her brother sets the phone up, my oldest son, Italian family. They're like, they can't do anything wrong. When this motherfucker did something wrong, he set her phone up for her. I said, no. But you know what? When you're a soft-ass parent, you let them do it. You're like, oh, they said it. And I was like, if you break it, that's fucked up. You know, like you fucked. She broke that shit 5 days later. And now, boom, to her credit, her knees were skinned the fuck up. Like she ate it. Whatever she did, she fucking ate it. And still, it's like a week later, her knees are still like she tripped in the baseball field. I don't care.
Damn.
But I did not hold fast to what her parenting is supposed to be.
Buy another one.
No. I said, until you get the case, you can't use it. I made her pay for half of the phone. I had to buy her another ass phone. Right.
Knew that was coming.
I bought this shit. I buy it refurbished on eBay. And it's like $9,000 for this stupid iPhone that's like 12 years old. And then my stupid ass fucking sent it to my old address.
Oh no! Was this a long way to ice up yourself?
Myself as a parent, buying phones twice, not being a strong parent, and you know what? Stick to it, man. Tell your kids. You know what? I called my mom up after all this shit happened. I said, "I'm sorry. You told me so many things in life that I was like, phew, I got it, you know, and you don't." But I'm icing myself up. And ice up iPhones. Ice up fucking buying shit and not changing your main delivery address. All of that crap. And now I got to go to my old house and pick up this phone. It's been a disaster. I've been texting these people while we've been doing the show. I had a friend message the person that bought my house. Ice up myself as a parent.
Ice up. CK, you have anything?
Man, I've been ringing or going through everything I possibly could in my mind, and just in an effort to keep myself from going political again, I'm gonna refrain at this evening, and we'll if we need to go back to politics next week, I'll do it.
Gotcha, buddy. I'm icing up anyone who's like, "Oh, dude, you know where we should go on vacation? A fucking volcano."
Oh, is this
dude, I was thinking about this one,
Italy?
too.
Where is this?
Could you imagine? Like, that could have been so much worse.
Dude, and watch at the end of this though. Like, I feel like they stopped the video right before this old person
people got melted in lava.
No, watch. There's at the end. You're gonna see this old guy being like chauffeured by a younger person, and they get ready to walk over top of this like little ridge, and they don't realize that it's a step down. And the video cuts off the moment the young guy steps down, and the old guy
just eat it.
You just feel like it's about to this dude's about to eat it when he just watch the end of it. That guy right there running. Watch this. It just stops right there.
So, ice up going on vacation by an active volcano, dude. Pretty stupid.
All right, that's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. You can help us by subscribing, by sharing the show with a friend, and being a part of our community. We're going to be rocking out all season long. We got incredible season ahead of us. Don't forget, a big time commitment to once a month giveaway. Right now, your opportunity to get historic Panther memorabilia from the stadium. Guys, we've got a lot coming for you. Cody, I love you, I love you. I love
Thanks,
you,
brother.
mama.
Love you too, man.
And you know, you're in our thoughts, you're in our prayers, my prayers.
Thank you, man.
I got the Catholic warrior Joanne done after everybody. I called my mama right away. She get the whole convent of nuns going.
Oh, dude, yeah, your mom sounds like all my aunts. They're all super Catholic. They had the whole prayer groups going up. Thank everybody tremendously.
I mean,
Yeah. Without going into too much detail, my mom is doing better. She's on the mend. So, like I said, I appreciate everybody who reached out, everybody who prayed and sent me messages. It means more than you know. Love y'all, boys. C3 Legion, I love y'all, man.
Y'all the best. Cody, CK, you're the goat with golden pipes. Everybody, stick around tomorrow. Check Twitter, check Facebook, check YouTube. The giveaway's going down. And this show, it's time for it to go down. Let's get out of here, bro.
C3 Legion, until this Friday when we have a free-for-all, you know what we're going to do. Keep pounding.